GOtv 47. Happy New Year. I'm Elizabeth Muchike, and today we'll be speaking to Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka about the year 2022 and as well 2023, the plans they have for the party and the nation at large ahead of a lot of things and this government. And remember, you can talk to us through our social media and also our SMS number at 220047. Welcome, leader, and thank you for giving me an opportunity
to speak. Thank you, Liz. I wish you and your viewers a very happy and prosperous 2023.
Thank you so much. I will start by the just concluded election, your take on it, and especially the BAMBA matters. What is your take on this?
My take on that is simple. There's need to do a serious review, serious audit of what transpired with the general election 2022 in our country. And in this regard, I appreciate the sentiments of even the president himself and my friend Raila, who are stressing the need to do an audit. Because, truth be told, there's something absolutely wrong with transmission of the results. And this whole thing about the server, I hope truth will be known, and this country will be able then to see what are the necessary next steps once the truth is known. But I don't want to go in that direction. It was a difficult year. Kenyans were hungry. For the first time I saw everybody, a lot of national leaders, both in the county assembly, gubernatorial, senatorial, and those in the National Assembly and the Senate, literally bribing voters. I hope that the campaign financing regulations and the act, the proposed act, which has never been brought to the floor of the House, I hope this time it will be brought, because otherwise it will be impossible to carry out elections in the years to come. Everybody committed open bribery of the voters.
But it's a
and I don't know whether some of these matters are being canvassed where they have those by-elections or whatever, or whether the petitions that are in various courts. But it was, for me, and those things started with UDA going to marketplaces, to districts, wherever, one visit after the other. You say, 1 million for the youth, 1 million for the women, I don't know how much for the old men, and that became then the trend. And if you actually appeared before the electorate and did not ask them to form a queue, were you giving a Kenyan 100 shillings, 100 shillings, 100 shillings, and that pains me. As a leader in this nation, it pains me that we think our people are worth 100 shillings, or themselves think that. I saw the other day, even worse, a leader lining people, I mean, there are thousands, they came out in the thousands somewhere in Kisii to get a packet, a 2 kg packet of unga ngano. Is this the kind of national psyche we want to bring about in this nation? Kenyans must be able to really have self-respect. Anything that works against the very important principle of respect for the personality of every Kenyan, yani heshima, utu wa mtu. Yani ukienda pale upatiwe foleni pale, unaona fulani mwenzako pale, it is worse than that queue voting we used to have. Una queue unapatiwa 100 shillings. Alafu na queue unapatiwa mfuko wa unga. It is not right.
What is going to be done over this, because it's a culture which has also been enhanced by leaders.
That culture then, if it is reflected in the law of the land, saying that, first of all, when I went to Parliament in 85, and I first ran in 83, it used to be that you cannot spend more than 30,000 shillings. That law was better than what you are seeing now. Na ilikuwa nyakati za KANU. And it was there, the law was there. You could not spend more than 30,000, and you had to give account of how much you have spent. Here, if you do not have, and you want to be a member of parliament in this country in the years to come, if you will not have stolen 10 million to start with, na zitatoka wapi? So that you can go and bribe voters?
Our election...
What kind of leaders then are we trying to bring forth?
Our election is one of the expensive elections ever in Middle and Sub-Saharan Africa. What exactly contributes towards this.
You know, in other jurisdictions, like say the Americans have their midterm elections or something, they are now busy electing, by the way, the Speaker of the Congress. I don't know that they're finished. I'm quite sure it would be unheard of for a congressman to be given under the table or nyuma pale dollars like $1,000 or $2,000 to go and vote for candidate. It cannot happen in America. It can't happen. It cannot happen in other democracies. But here, election of a speaker, election of anybody, you have to really bribe even the members of parliament. We have to do something.
And what is that something which needs to be
legislation.
done?
At least let there be legislation saying you will not spend more than so much money.
In whichever election.
And you will not line up Kenyans to give them shillings. Yeah, or give them unga. Because that lining up, I don't mind if they're given at night or something, because at least it kind of gives respect to them, a bit of privacy. But this lining up to get, and I want to ask my fellow citizens, please let's run away from this. Inaharibu utu wetu kama watu.
Azimio leader, that is Raila Odinga, over and over, he's insisted that Azimio One Kenya Alliance won the election, and whatever happened at Bomas, it isn't a reflection of the outcome of Mwananchi.
I agree with him. When the Supreme Court issued their famous, or shall I say infamous, ruling, it left this country miserable. And I want to ask, how many parts of the country, on a bit of reflection, Liz, went out celebrating the outcome of the last election, except perhaps certain places in Eldoret, which is understood, or Kapsabet, and maybe in Nyeri, and even Nyeri, not so convincingly. Where else was this outcome celebrated in our country? That's a question I want to pose to the viewers. When Raila Odinga says that he did not agree, of course, even I issued a statement, all of us issued statements, the ones on the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya, and we said, we will respect the decision of the Supreme Court, but we have a right to disagree. We disagree. That's why I said, I like it when both the President and Raila say they welcome the idea of an audit. But then we must also say, if the audit reviews that there were certain serious anomalies, that this was not an election, just like I believe, allow me to say this, in 2017, in 2013, Chebukati presided over how many? 2017 and this one?
Yeah.
And some people call him a hero. I reserve my comments.
You don't think Chebukati was a hero?
I reserve my comments.
You reserve your comment. But still, there is a tribunal which is probing the 4 commissioners.
That tribunal is illegal in my view. It is, the mandate doesn't have, because you're dealing with an independent commission under Constitution 2010. Therefore, it is not within the province of Parliament to set up a tribunal, which is what they did, in utter ignorance, perhaps, of what the law is, and speaking to you as a lawyer. Therefore, this commission, a tribunal that was set up subsequent to the parliamentary committee's proceedings, some of which I attended, that lacked the mandate. It lacked the mandate. Therefore, anything they're trying to do is void ab initio. Void ab initio. Meaning, even before they start, it is void. Yeah, and it's an exercise in futility. My worry is that the system is relying, or really engineering, or really, even the parliamentary committee, we were there, and we could see they were in a hurry to make a certain recommendation. Now, therefore, I celebrate one lawyer friend. I don't know much about Masid, but let me call her a friend, because she has stood her ground. A learned friend who is saying, no, I will not be intimidated. I will say my truth, and I will insist this was an illegal outfit, and therefore I cannot subject myself to it, and I wish her well. And I think history will prove that there was one commissioner who refused to be intimidated, who refused to be coerced into doing anything.
You don't think the other three commissioners resigned?
They should have stood their ground.
Do you think Commissioner Masit is going to get her justice?
Even if she doesn't get, because this is a clear kangaroo thing, yeah? Even the tribunal, which, as I said, avoid ab initio, right? Whatever the outcome, it is inconsequential. But Masit, Commissioner Masit, will have stood out as a Kenyan, able to stand our ground and fight for our rights and the rights of our fellow citizens. Because the majority commissioners took a position. And the Supreme Court itself, that time I think they actually said the commission must act as a commission. On that score, we applaud them. Therefore, the commission cannot be Chebukati. The commission is Chebukati plus the other commissioners.
After every election, you will find one team which is blaming the IEBC. What exactly should be done to at least curb this?
Honestly, I thank Kenyans. We've become a very resilient nation. We are able to stomach anything. When your rights are trodden down upon, you say, I have the right to demonstrate. Maybe I'll demonstrate sometime. I think it is because Kenyans are tired. Nobody has any reason now, the right-thinking Kenyans, to say, I'll go and vote in 2027. What reason? If your vote does not count, if your vote can be hijacked in the air and put into a server, and then the Supreme Court says, open the server, and Smartmatic somewhere, wherever they are in Venezuela, say, intellectual property right. In other words, Smartmatic overruled the Supreme Court of Kenya. What does that tell you? Mm-hmm. What does that tell you?
You don't.
So therefore, going forward, I want to go to the old school. I want my vote and the vote of my children, my grandchildren to be voting, be mending. I want them to stand for something, that they can vote and go home and expect that the right outcome will be pronounced. Therefore, let's go back to the basics. You remember there was a lot of disagreement over this matter about electronic voting. I think we need to revisit this. I think National Assembly and the Senate need to revisit this matter of electronic voting. Let's go back to manual voting, yeah? Because after all, it took almost the same time to get the results of the presidential results, yeah? Let's go back to actually, because this thing, and in the case of, say, a place, I think in Kakamega, Mombasa, and again, that's another story, yeah, where the Chebukati Commission stands accused of having delayed Mombasa and Kakamega in order to achieve a certain result, all right? Or add to what was expected outcome. I remember in Kibwezi, people had to resort to manual voting. Let's start with manual voting.
In your opinion, we don't need this electronic.
You're getting these mandarins, international cyber crime busters and the rest of them, saying, we meet in Dubai, you pay me $1 billion shillings, I'll make you president.
And you believe that
what is the point of Kenyans then going out there? This is a problem. And by the way, this is the truth, eh? Yeah. These are people who say, give me $1 billion shillings, I'll make you president. And they go ahead and do so. It is terrible. Why would if you imagine, Liz, it is terrible. And so what is the meaning of elections?
You believe this contributed towards the outcome of
course I do. I do, and I hope the truth will come out. Let them do the audit.
How prepared are you for the 2027 elections over this?
No, now you have jumped to the gun.
No, I've not.
How can I be prepared after what I'm just telling you?
Yes, you're telling me on the same beat, but I'm
saying for 2027, Liz, to make sense, let us revisit the matter of the mode of voting. Let us give confidence to the Kenyan voter that your vote counts, that you vote and other people vote for you in the sky, in the clouds. turn your vote to something else because they've been paid billions. That's what I'm saying.
Let me not pursue this matter further because I know...
And we have a lot of experience from 2017, now 2022.
In 2027, we are expecting something different.
2027 must be different.
All right, how different it will be, I believe your contribution...
That's what I'm saying. National Assembly and Senate must really discuss this matter of electronic versus manual voting.
Last year...
Let Kenyans have a conversation about it.
Last year, before the closure of 2022, Azimio One Kenya had started meetings, or rather demonstrations, over piling pressure to this government over cost of living and other issues. Is it something we are expecting this 2023? Will we be seeing rallies or rather demonstrations?
I have seen two things, Liz. I've seen the International Monetary Fund focus that more than a third of countries in the world are going to go through a recession in 2023. I think we're already in one in this country because Uda said within 100 days the price of unga will come down. They turned around and said, no, give us 1 year, one complete year. Perchance they will have gone through the recession. They have removed the subsidies, and whereas I agree, you cannot grow an economy on the basis of subsidies, right? But at least you're trying to help your people put food on the table. Now, schools are going to open soon. They removed subsidies. I hope they don't do away with Higher Education Loans Board. What will happen to the children of the poor? And yet you call yourselves hustlers, and you're hurting the hustlers themselves.
President William Ruto believes that by removal of the subsidies is something which will help the economy in maybe 1 year or 2 years to come. And in his first 100 days, he says
I know for a fact it was pushed very hard by the Bretton Woods. You know, this is why I said in your Kiswahili version that I'm a sovereigntist. I'm personally believes in the sovereignty of this nation. But let me be honest to you and our fellow citizens on the basis of my experience in government, that the Bretton Woods institutions run a lot of governments. And Ruto's is in the forefront. Remove those subsidies, he removed them. And he has removed them to the suffering, great suffering of his people. He could have argued, he could have negotiated. Please, let me at least give them food on the table. It's been very difficult here. Oh, the drought in the northeast and the short rain seem to be failing in a lot of parts of the country. We pray that at least the good Lord will give us a showers because it gives rain. But it's not looking good. He could have said, hey, let me keep these subsidies up to June or thereabouts. Let my people at least have some food and we can revisit. But if you don't negotiate tough as a leader, you'll be driven out of office by IMF and the Bretton Woods. All right? Now, I honestly was watching Brazilians. First of all, as I celebrate the legend, the soccer legend, Pele. And really, Brazil has given something to the world. I was hoping Neymar would have followed that tradition. It still has time. But with the kind of BAMBA and Messi, it's tough thing. But these are icons. As Brazil was celebrating this, there's something a lot of Kenyans may not have seen. President Lula da Silva, Lula, was also sworn in as president of Brazil for the third time. I could see certain similarity between Lula and Raila. How I would have wished it, or Lula sworn in Brazil and Raila sworn in Kenya. This country will have seen a big difference. But now, dampened expectations. And people are driven by things they want to put a commission to deal with state capture. That is borrowed from South Africa, where some Mwindi And that actually cost Zuma the presidency, and subsequently went to jail. But I can tell you, if ever there was a state capture, it is now. And I hope I'll be proved wrong. And if you get angry with me, it is my responsibility as an opposition leader to say so.
Why do you say that?
Look at the quality of the cabinet. People who kind of said their net worth is 4 billion. One of them said 4 billion. Another one said 200 million or 400. I don't believe they are that. But they were looking to the future. So they can come and steal now. And if questions are asked in 2027, they say, this is what I declare.
Are you saying that... Okay,
now this is a real capture. I'm telling you, Liz, this is a real state capture. People whose business is to amass, steal as much as they can. I hope it's not a country.
You don't believe that this cabinet is going to deliver.
Please, listen to me. And I am using my words carefully, because I don't want anybody to say I've accused them of anything. I say, I hope I'll be proved wrong. That this is not the real state capture.
Right. When you say that, I remember President Ruto, while delivering his New Year message, he said that he's delivered in the first 100 days. And of course, he's delivered the Hustler Fund, among other few things.
Why? Hustler Fund. First of all, for a thing which is national, I think if I was President Ruto, and I have no business advising him, he would have changed the title to not a Hustler Fund, because it's for Kenyans. There are Kenyans who are not in the hustler movement, so to speak. So the first thing you get it wrong. Therefore, Kenyans will be forgiven for saying this is continuation of campaign into 2027. But be that as it may, because he has a right to campaign. And I happen to know he has actually started campaigning. So everything the government is doing is aiming at 2027. Including establishment of the office of the first daughter. Okay? Yeah. It's about 2027.
The office, I'm yet to see its
well, maybe you should create it along with the opposition, office of the opposition. Yeah, have the office of the first lady, the first daughter, the first son, and that kind of thing. Then you create a proper kingdom.
So that is your opinion.
I'm just telling you. Yeah.
Now that you...
And moving very fast. Moving very fast. Very, very fast to actualize the 2027 objective, all right? But the issue about Hustler Fund, so-called, it lacks legal framework, any legal framework. This is a matter that should have gone to Parliament and to the National Assembly and to the Senate and be given some legislation. I hope in the confusion that they find themselves in, they will still take it to Parliament. Because if they don't, I'm sorry to say, this is in the category of Fuliza. Fuliza. And some Fuliza people are saying, hey, afadhali Fuliza, because you're not given a penalty or something, like the type you get 500 if you, and if, I once talked about names. I don't want to go about names. Remember I once said something about names, and I was vilified. So I hope that these things are not going, now we are one people. Mm-hmm. So first of all, change the name Hustler, if you want. Because how will my wife, member of parliament, support a Hustler Fund? Call it something else. Be more nationalistic. Because as a president, your business is to unite the whole country.
And you don't believe that is gearing to...
Hustler is divisive. It's Hustler Fund.
I know there is
Although I'm the original hustler, by the way.
You still hustling or...
I'll take you to where I was born, and then you can compare between Sekuru and Sugoi.
I will come to Mfahamu Kiongozi someday at Chiata, or rather Sekuru.
No, Yata mahali ya kulisha mbuzi. I'll take you to Sekuru, and I want to compare Sekuru, Sugoi.
Then we see who is
more of a hustler.
All right, that is a story for another day. I know there is a proposal to create opposition leader office, and which will have its budget. However, I've not heard from you your thoughts especially on this. And who especially from Azimio is going to lead this outfit?
First of all, we can only cross a bridge when we come to it about who will lead. Right? Right now, the important thing is, on the face of it, having the office of the leader of the opposition is a very honorable thing. It was discussed, it was a proposal under the Building Bridges initiative, which unfortunately UDA people threw out. Now they want to reintroduce. Why don't they be so bold and say, there was nothing after all wrong with the BBI? Yeah, and as Kenyans, we can have a conversation about that. But I have no problem if this proposal is made in absolute good faith and that it is of best national interest. I believe it is of best national interest. But the issue of faith, because I happen to know some of the embassies in this country, we talk to them. The British High Commissioner and the others, when UDA were campaigning, they were pushing very hard to have that office established because they thought they would be in the opposition. So surprise, surprise, they're in government. So now, those same embassies are telling me, you came to us, you wanted the office, a strong office of the official leader of the opposition. You must implement it. You have to implement it. They say, okay, we'll do it. Sasa, shingo pande. That's what I mean. If it is done in good faith, we have no problem with it.
The office of opposition comes also with the gender, to that gender.
Well, why mix all those things? And by the way, that's the issue. Because, Parliament is like to say, we can't again meet the threshold. The omnibus recommendation is thrown out. So they go back to the ambassadors and their commission. We did our best.
So you think
we did our best. It did not work. That is a strategy.
So you think we need one bit at a time?
Sorry?
Or rather we adopt the whole BBI and everything which was in BBI?
Yeah, people should be open.
Or if its creation of or leader of opposition office should be done separately away from the gender
I think
matter.
that would be a better option in my view. What is all the hurry? Yeah, you want to lump them together so they're rejected together and say, we did our best.
All right.
Yeah, remember the old days of don't be vague, go to the Hague. That kind of approach.
But President William Ruto has said over again and again that he isn't for handshake. And that is why he thinks there is a need for the opposition
Over that, I agree
office.
with him. If it is a statement made in good faith, there's no point. We must have institutions that are functional, that are working. It is a responsibility in a democracy to have a working opposition which puts the government of the day in checks. All right? Now, the question to ask is, will this government or the government be willing to be checked? That's a question. And if they were, why would they have tried to dismantle Azimio la Umoja? Today, I'm happy to announce that Wiper is supporting the UDM candidate for Garissa Central. And UDM were with us in Azimio la Umoja. Why did UDA run so quickly to take away UDM?
They needed the numbers, of course, in parliament for some.
Yeah, that's it. If you believe in a working opposition, why dismantle it? Why dismantle that? Why dismantle opposition? This was a coalition, a valid coalition member. You go out and entice them out so that you can build the numbers. What we say in Azimio la Umoja, Kenya, one Kenya, even if they take all our MPs and we remain with a core figure of 50 committed Kenyans, we will bring the real change with the 50.
There are calls within Azimio and a section of leaders in Azimio la Umoja who feel that you should steer that outfit or the coalition.
I don't think the time for that has come, Liz. No. So, subira ya vuta heri.
Subira ya vuta heri. But also a section of Wiper leaders want you to start your campaigns as early as today if you want.
Whereas they're entitled to their opinion, I still think subira, or if you like subira, ya vuta heri.
2027.
2027, Liz, is some of these things are rather obvious. Once
they can be obvious to us, leader, but
I'll give Kenyans some history. There was a famous deputy speaker called Mario Serone. he was detained even before I went to Parliament because of saying that time, hey, it was close to totalitarianism. He said, and Mzee Moi was the leader of government business. Serene Shikuku stood up and said, Kanu is dead. He made an allegation. Said, Kanu is dead. Okay, may God rest the soul of these wonderful Kenyan trailblazers. And then I think Mzee Moi, obviously being leader of opposition, of government, said, I demand a substantiation from the member for Butere. Mm-hmm. You know, Serone said, Mr. Shikuku cannot be asked to substantiate the obvious. After that, he went into detention. Mm-hmm. Now, this thing about 2027, why do you want me to substantiate the obvious?
I would like to hear from you. I don't want to read
an
from
obvious
papers.
thing.
Maybe someone who has maybe their minds. I want to hear it directly from you.
Well, the time for the announcements, whatever, we will be consulting. We will consult Kenyans. We will consult Kenyans at every step. I believe that Wiper Democratic Movement is a truly consultative political outfit. We meet, sometimes wakati wa COVID, we were meeting here under the trees, we'll take a decision and we'll move, all right? And what I found most difficult was getting agreement on how to do party nominations, very difficult. Now, we will consult. In the next few days, weeks, I'll be calling the National Executive Council of the party. We will canvass these issues. We will. But the party is stronger than ever before. But it can also be stronger. And I therefore celebrate the achievement of my team that went all the way, although I was their party leader, was not in the ballot. They went out of their way and they voted and they campaigned like never before and maintained the stability of the party. Now, this is a time for the party to grow and form the next government. Mm-hmm. Whether I am their leader or not, political parties are formed for the sole purpose of forming government.
Well, we should
either separately as Wiper or together under coalition or coalition arrangements with other parties, like-minded parties, like in the case of Azimio la Umoja One Kenya. But I can tell you that for the avoidance of doubt, Azimio la Umoja One Kenya is holding on. And the leadership, if you like, the Supreme Council of Azimio la Umoja One Kenya is holding together, they're consulting together. And I think it is healthy for this country.
However, there are
and the growth of our democratic practice.
There are mamas and different opinions in the coalition.
Yeah.
And still, I will remind you that there are leaders within the coalition, especially in Wiper Party, who feel it's your time to steer that out.
They're entitled to their opinion, but I remind them, subira yavuta heri. And again, we should, at this particular time in our history, be thinking more about the suffering of the ordinary Kenyan, not the suffering of Kalonzo Musyoka. There are those who say, I've been dragged through the mud, and I can understand. Dragged through the mud, oh, that I have, okay? And I don't want to visit those things.
All right.
Yeah, but having said that, schools are opening shortly. Parents have they lack the wherewithal. The subsidies, I hope they don't remove subsidies from higher education loans board. If you do that, then you are condemning the children of the poor to oblivion, and you claim to be one of them.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to speak to you.
Yeah.
I will be speaking to you again and again before 2023 ends, and even other years if God gives us the opportunity.
Thank you so much.
May God bless you. Thank you so much for watching TV47. I'm Elizabeth Mutuku. Keep talking to us through our social media platforms. Keep tweeting this interview. Bye-bye for now. Happy 2023.